Maximus.
Sam.
Every emo kid's crush this week.
Wow. Calling it for the whole genre. And punching your microphone while you're doing it.
Absolutely
That
sandwiched
looks like I
my
actually might have heard.
Yeah, sandwiched me thumb. Anyway, we're talking. Well, I gave you some homework, Maxwell.
You did.
I gave you Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party by the one and only Hayley Williams.
Yeah. I think this, look, I'm going to call it early. It's a long album. We talked about album lengths recently.
It's 2 albums.
Look, it's 2 discs. But you know, if you tackle it, it's an hour and 5 or something like that. Like it's a long record compared to a lot of what we've been reviewing lately. But I think that's because Hayley is covering a lot of different sounds, a lot of different emotions, and I think this is a love letter to pop music at the same time as being a bit of a hate letter to one particular person.
One particular person whose last name has a lot to do with New York.
But Benjamin Brooklyn.
But remove the new and put in Taylor.
So yeah, this record, Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party, 20 songs, which is quite, as I said, long. But within those 20 songs, Hayley Williams is touching on a heap of sounds and genres and styles that they don't. The band Paramore don't really cover, but that she also hasn't really covered, in solo work or really like across the board. And I think it's interesting. We talk about the evolution of Paramore a lot, between the two of us and on the show, from being a band that is very firmly in the pop punk world, the emo world, even borderline metal a couple of times.
Yes.
Into where they've sort of been more recently, which was through After Laughter with their kind of almost tropical pop sound into the most recent records, which are more kind of alternative rock meets almost art rock kind of thing, I suppose. Yeah. And I think even in that journey, Paramore doesn't cover, or mostly doesn't cover, most of the sounds that Hayley Williams is playing with in this record.
It's she's taken, it's kind of cool. I didn't really think about that until you put it into words there, but she really does touch on new ground.
Yeah, she does.
Paramore, who covered a lot of sounds, never did.
It's also interesting because I think the way that she's not only genre-wise and style-wise and sonically playing in different styles, I think the way that she's employing her most recognizable instrument, which is her voice, is very different to what you would expect. There's not many times in this record where you have those big, huge notes that you think of like All I Wanted Is You from
Brand New Eyes.
Brand New Eyes, thank you. I was about to say All I Know Is Falling. It's not off that record. But,
that's the first album.
Yep, way out. But it's, in Paramore songs, you think of those big runs that she goes on, those massive high notes that she'll hit, or she has a powerful voice. In this, she still sounds incredible, but it is not the same sonic sort of timbre that you'd use, I suppose, in the Paramore things. And in fact, there's a lot of times where she doesn't sound like the Hayley Williams that we would really know from Paramore at all.
In a way, though, it's cool, though, because you can tell in some songs, and I'm sure you'll get into it, but Good Old Days, Parachute, even to an extent, songs like Negative Self-Talk, True Believer, the way she sort of poetically jumps around. In some songs, she's been more poetic with her delivery. In other songs, like Good Old Days, she's quite jumpy and upbeat. But the technical control to nail that style to the degree she does shows off her chops, I feel.
Oh, she's certainly never singing poorly. I want to clarify that.
I think that's physically impossible.
Yeah, but she's not necessarily going for the big Hayley Williams, big runs and notes and sounds that you would be like, oh yeah, cool, that's a classic Paramore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I think I want to touch on some of the songs that you just talked about then. I think there's probably 4 main buckets that I put most of these songs into. There's songs that are kind of in almost like a hip hop / R&B world. There's songs that I think touch on country.
Yep.
There's songs that I think touch on what I would broadly call indie rock. And then there's some songs that I don't think necessarily fall into a category musically, but I would call theatrical. So songs like Ice in My OJ, Good Old Days, as you mentioned before, and a couple of others have this kind of funky R&B kind of sound to them. Almost like the title track, Ego Death at the Bachelorette Party, also kind of has that same vibe. It's very, like, beats wise, very hip hop, but then there's this kind of very funky bass lines, you know, imbuing that sort of added element of I don't really know what to say, because I think it is more R&B than hip hop necessarily, but I think in the same way that line gets blurred a lot of the time by people like Childish Gambino. Yeah, I think it could, if you took Hayley Williams out of a lot of these songs and then put a Childish Gambino on, it would be a perfectly suitable, you know, backing track for that.
Yes,
or a scissor also. You know, it could go down either of those kind of routes. Then you have songs like, I'm going to say Glum, maybe, sort of. Kill Me, definitely. Whim, for certain. They kind of have these more countrified sound to them. Pop, definitely on the more pop end of country.
Yep.
But like Whim sounds like it could have been on a Casey Musgraves offcut. Or there was times when I felt a lot of these kind of had Taylor Swift vibes to them. I think the
big call.
Well, as in the mode, the songwriting mode that Taylor Swift often uses. I think, you know, Hayley Williams in a lot of these songs is using very like pointed, witty lyrics, which Taylor Swift is kind of known to go with. And I think the delivery kind of comes across like that as well. I think one of the songs that I liked the most was Kill Me, which is kind of country-ish. But then when that chorus kicks in, I was like, ooh, that has like this lush layer to it that kind of was in there. Then going down the what I called the indie rock sort of sound, indie pop kind of sound, Metazapine feels a bit like Egoism, or like a 90s like Riot Girl kind of sound. There's Disappearing Man, which I think like wouldn't be out of place as a soft rock kind of sound on like what Hilary Duff's latest album was. And I think then it goes into a little bit of like negative self-talk. There's this kind of very soft, groovy alt rock where the kind of thing you'd hear in a Starbucks in 2004. You know what I mean? Like brushes and strings and all that kind of thing.
Stripped back.
Yeah, exactly. And then the final bucket that I pointed out is what I'm going to call the theatrical ones, and they're the big ones that are a bit odd and different. Like Brotherly Hate kind of feels like Kate Bush meets Lily Allen, kind of like a mid 2000s indie sound. Love Me Different kind of felt a bit theatrical in like a Break My Stride kind of way. Hard, you know, it starts out kind of dark sounding in the verses, but then it has these big lush pad synths that kind of add this added element of like drama to everything. And I think the way that Hayley Williams has used all of those different sounds, and like, you know, some songs don't fall fully neatly into each of those four buckets, but I'd say broadly they do. The way that sort of Hayley Williams has used each of those sounds to give you a different emotion and then give you different plays on those emotions in those buckets as well is really, really interesting, because you know, it's no secret that this is quite a negative album. Most of the songs are either angry at Taylor York or sad about the disillusion in that relationship, or the falling apart of that relationship. And so I think it's interesting that like there's a lot of times when a lot of the songs are really quite nice and beautiful, but the lyrics are this downtrodden, you know, melancholy all the way through to angry at various times. And
Good old days.
Yeah, good old days. Very soulful, but then
passive aggressive.
And interestingly, calling out the song Hard Times, saying that was the good old days. Obviously, when their relationship was kind of in a full, you know, they talk about writing songs together and enjoying that process, and then going, remember that massive song we had that everyone loves? Yeah, I fucking hate that now.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like lyrically, so clever.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I think at times, these are probably, as a collection, the best lyrics Hayley Williams has ever written.
I think you are basically bang on there. I think I really, really like the album. I think it's very, very good. I think that it would be perfect if it maybe had an editor. I think we're probably 5 songs running over time here. And you're going to say, which 5 songs? And that's the thing. I don't know which ones I would cut. But I know that I would cut something. I think I probably would cut Dreamgirl and Shibuya maybe.
Which ones would you keep?
I definitely keep Kill Me. I definitely keep Metazapine. I definitely keep Hard and Zizou. And then I think there's a couple in the back end. I think I would maybe get rid of Blood Brothers. I Won't Quit on You, and maybe Parachute.
You get rid of Parachute.
I think so.
Whoa.
It's not that it's bad. I just think that other songs achieve what it does better. And
That's a big one.
I genuinely can't tell if it's on the chopping block or not. Discovery Channel.
Okay.
I think what it's doing is interesting, which is like the sad interpolation of The Bad Touch by Bloodhound Gang. And then kind of redoing that song or interpolating it in the style of like Johnny Cash's cover of Hurt, even down to like the singular piano hits.
Yeah.
Like I think what it's doing is interesting, but I just think it sticks out on this album as being a bit weird. So I think there's probably a few that I'd cut to make this go from like an 8 to a 9. But overall, it's still an 8. Like it's still a very good album.
It's a very good album.
I think there's more than enough in here for anyone who either likes Paramore or generally likes, in the broadest sense as possible, like pop music.
Yeah.
For an album called Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party, it's neither particularly ego death experimental nor downtrodden sad, everything's acoustic and I hate my life. It manages to be both of those things, but also just be like, hey, I love pop music. And I'm going to shout out to the artists and the genres and the styles that probably influence me in ways that you don't necessarily see on a Paramore album.
It's very cool. Yeah, I think it took me a long time to sort of dive into it, honestly. Like when it first came out, I didn't give it a lot of time. I thought, no, this is too different. It's just like old Paramore and I don't really buy into it. But I think you kind of, maybe I matured, maybe it grew on me. I don't know what it is, but it does. I think you listen and appreciate this album at a certain time in your life and then you understand it all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But going through like a breakup or going through a hard time in life, whatever it is, like I think you connect with the album deeper.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get it. You're like, oh, I can relate to it now. Whereas if you come in like, this is a Paramore album.
No.
It is not.
My question to you, as someone who, you know, has gone through that journey,
Yes.
why isn't it a Paramore album? Like, why do you think she chose to do this solo? Do you think it's because it's such a personal story? Or do you think because stylistically she wanted to create things that weren't within the Paramore umbrella?
Well,
Or a third thing?
Well, I feel like the obvious, most logical answer is that the X is still in Paramore and Paramore is technically still a band. So unless they were going to write a breakup album together where he's playing guitar on the songs, it could make it difficult.
I mean, they've written songs about their relationships at highs and lows before in the band.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think this is kind of the finalization of the split though.
True.
I think Hayley is so, like, without her, Paramore doesn't exist. Let's be real. Like, she is Paramore. And maybe it was just time for her to do something different. That's how I feel.
That's
but
fair.
yeah, I think it also feels a bit more personal coming just from her as well. It's a bit more intimate. You sort of sit with it more. And I think, I don't know what it is, but there's something about Paramore or just her as an artist that as a teenager growing up, like, I don't know what it is, but like you connect quite deeply to Paramore or what Hayley does. I don't know. There's a sense of authenticity there that people attach to. I think of the cult following that like Ethel Cain has. I feel like in many ways Hayley Williams has the same thing.
I find it so. We talk about Paramore so much on the show, but I find it not in a bad way. I'm not. That wasn't a
I feel like
I just mean like we've a lot of podcast ink has been spilled about this band, but I mean like I find it so interesting in the way that I think that you're gonna be like, what the fuck when I say this? I think there's a really similar trajectory between Paramore as there is with Coldplay.
Yeah.
Where they started in one thing that was very authentic and very them and very lauded, and everyone was like, they are the new sound of this one thing.
Yeah.
And they've both gone in very different pop directions where people have gone, the new stuff isn't necessarily for me. I like the old stuff. But even with the new stuff, you can say they're putting, like, they believe in what they're doing. Whether or not it's good or bad or otherwise, or you like it or not, you can say with 100% certainty that Hayley Williams and Chris Martin both fucking love what they are doing as artists. And I think it's such an interesting parallel to see those two bands do that, because I think they're also bands that have, with maintaining that authenticity, whether or not it's good, I think people respect them in a way of like, even someone who hates new Coldplay, even someone who hates Coldplay in general would go, you know what? I do respect them. Like, they fucking do it.
Yeah, I think there's a few layers to that. Like, you can respect their success.
Yeah.
or that's for the people that don't like them at all. You go, well, clearly something's working.
Yeah.
Because you don't play stadiums out of luck. I think with Paramore, a lot of it, to your point, is, I grew up, Riot, like, that was the album for me. Huge. Like, Misery Business, got me into guitar, all that shit. Brand New Eyes, best Paramore album.
Yeah.
There's parts of the self-titled, and obviously All We Know Is Falling is big as well, but you've got those, the first three is where you've got like these emo fans, and then they filtered out a little bit, similar to the Coldplay thing. But at the very least, I think these fans loved those albums so much and loved what Paramore did and their passion, that if that's what Paramore want to do and they're being authentically them, then they haven't sold out. They're just like, we don't really like that sound anymore.
Yeah.
We're doing this, we're all in on this, and you're like, you guys, like, full respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's the thing.
Yeah, I think Paramore, you're right, they're like a behemoth of a band that, I don't know, it's like they just haven't stopped. I don't think they're going to come back for a little while, though.
Look, it's probably not in their current form, but I think
No.
I think that they, like Coldplay, they would be at a level now, I think. Look, I'm probably not talking stadiums, but big arenas. Like, they could easily come back and do
Entertainment Centre.
Yeah.
Sell it out.
Multiple nights.
Yeah.
Like, I think they are pushing up towards one of the few bands like that could do that these days, that are still producing. Well, I mean, I'm not, obviously the band hasn't released music in a little while, but like Hayley Williams / Paramore is still producing music.
Tell you what, Hayley Williams could come here and play the River Stage and sell it out.
No, I think Hayley Williams could probably do Entertainment Centre by herself, but as a band, bring Paramore. You've got yourself certainly festival headliners.
Yeah, like almost too big for a festival.
Yeah, yeah.
But you've got homework for me, sir.
I've got homework for you, Sam. Look, we've just knocking over some shit over here. We've talked a lot recently about big electronic albums that have crazy shit going on.
Yes.
And I think I always keep coming back to Justice as a band that just fucking gets it done, just has a vibe to them. And I wanted to give you Hyperdrama, which was their album from 2024.
Beautiful.
And just I don't know. It's
a sick cover.
It was a sick cover. They like, considering that all three of their covers are essentially the same thing, they do it well.
Gatefold?
It is. It is a gatefold. I think this record, I mean, we've talked about the debut Cross before on the show, but I think this is probably moving into more of like where Cross was so deliberately punky in its electronic sound. This is more like stadium rock. Still quite punky, still quite jagged, but like stadium rock goes electronic.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Keen to dive into it. I like a bit of electronic with Tame Impala, Thundercat, Miguel.
Yeah. A lot of features on this.
Yeah, good features.
Yeah.
Hyperdrama.
Yeah. So
I'm excited. Let's do it.
we'll give that a spin next week. And in the meantime, any final thoughts?
I got none. Let's just join the conversation on Vinyl Club on Instagram.
Yeah, that's
all
actually a
I'll
good
say.
shout. If you're listening to this and you haven't joined on Instagram our new channel called Vinyl Club, very easy to find. Please do. It's where we're having some direct chats with you guys to find out what you think about what you're listening to, what we're listening to, what we should be listening to.
Yep.
Just it's a place for us to all chat and just have a yarn.
Chatter.
Just chatter about
at the
things on the
moment.
podcast.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. See you there, champion.
Bye.